everyone, you're listening to Pragati Achar on the Family Podcaster. On this podcast, I talk with people about their experiences and perspectives on interesting topics. So stay tuned. The night sky is ever changing. Have you ever wondered what lies beyond when you look at the sky? We have seen the videos of the exploding stars as supernova, the dancing of the planets, racing comets, and many more glories which light up the heavens. In this episode, Suresh Chakrapani will guide us on becoming an actual observer of the skies. He is a lead engineer at Wells Fargo at Bangalore whose hobby is to study astronomy. He is also a volunteer in Bangalore Astronomical Society, a non-profit group which promotes astronomy knowledge to the public. His objective and passion is to instigate interest and curiosity among the people and students on astronomy. Let's welcome our dear guest Suresh Chakrapani. Namaste Suresh, how are you?
Hey, Namaskara Pragati. I am good. Thank you for the welcome note and thank you for having me here. I am really excited to talk about one of my favorite topics.
Yeah, I'm excited as you are. So, the topic astronomy is very vast and limitless, just like the sky. You, being an observer, tell me what exactly is astronomy to you?
Okay, so astronomy is basically a branch of science which deals with celestial objects, space, universe, basically anything beyond Earth's atmosphere. As you rightly said, it is a very vast subject. So there are a lot of branches under that. Some of them I can call out here is astrobiology, astrophysics, planetary science. There are a lot more. So from the hobby perspective, or to basically enhance the knowledge of the night sky, from that perspective, we can get into visual observation or astrophotography for that matter. So what I'm going to talk about today is more on the visual observation part.
Okay, then what made you enthusiastic about astronomy?
Okay, so I was born and brought up in Mysore. So my grandfather had pretty good knowledge about both astronomy and astrology. So he also had a binocular. So that binocular was pretty old, but decent enough to observe the sky. And when I was very young, he was showing me certain planets like, hey, this is Venus, this is Jupiter, this is Saturn. So then I kind of whenever I was not playing with my friends, I just go to terrace and take his binocular and observe the sky. So by doing that, I was able to identify some kind of pattern in the sky, even though I didn't know what are those constellations are. But it always, kept me wondering, this is so vast. I mean, and my grandfather used to say, those stars are like suns. Whatever, so the sun, whatever we have, so they are all suns. So I always used to wonder, there are so many suns in the sky. So it's such a vast. And over a period of time, I bought a book, which is a Kannada book called Nakshatra Vikshane, authored by G.T. Narayan Rao. And for all the listeners who are non-Kannada speaking, Nakshatra Vikshane literally translates to stars observation. So that book had uh, details about these constellations and catalog of stars. So that kind of helped me to identify these constellations and stars. So that's how my journey started.
So, you think like whoever is into astronomy, they're actually into it since childhood. And if anybody gives exposure to children from the beginning, so they start their journey into this field.
Definitely, but one point here is, see, there is no age restriction, especially for this. So if someone didn't get a chance to start from the childhood, they can start at any time. And definitely, if you instill this curiosity and knowledge to the children, definitely, they will have a better exposure to this field, and they can explore on their own, because sky is available to everyone.
Yes, yes. When you look at the night sky, we can see only the stars and maybe few planets. So is that all we can see, or is there more into it?
Yeah, that's a really nice question. So yes, when we look at the sky, everything looks like a point of light source. But yes, majority of them are stars, but not all of them are stars. So let me elaborate on this. So apart from stars, we can also observe planets. In fact, without any tool, for the naked eye, we can see Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. And apart from that, we can also observe what we call deep sky objects, or DSOs, like nebula, which is basically a interstellar cloud. We can also observe galaxies, clusters, meteors, and um, even sometimes we can also observe comets, and many more. There are so many celestial objects out there which we can observe. In addition to these celestial objects, we can also observe man-made satellites, including International Space Station and Hubble Telescope. Of course, uh, these satellites look like aeroplanes flying over the head, but after experience, one can identify whether something is a satellite or an aeroplane. So there are plenty to look at in the sky.
So the first thing one person ever sees is the moon. So apart from that, there is also the evening star, which is visible at night, which is nothing but the brightest planet, Venus. But from naked eye, it appears to be a star. If this is the case, how do we know which are stars, which are planets, and which are galaxies, and so on?
Yeah, that's a very valid question. So to explain this, let me take an example. See, today, suppose I want to go to Mumbai from Bangalore. I want to drive. Now, this is the first time I am driving. I do not know anything about route. So what I do, I will take the help of Google Maps or the navigation system if it exists in my car. So I input the start location and the destination. Then that navigation system will guide me how to go through this complete journey. So it will basically tell me where to take right, where to take left turn. If I have to take a specific flyover, it will guide me. So finally, it will help me to reach the destination. So the way we use Google Map, similarly, we can use what we call sky chart. So sky chart is something which is available in internet. One can Google for sky chart, then you can download the sky chart. So before downloading, you will basically put your location, date and time. How does this sky chart works? Let's say you are looking at the sky, whether it is from north to south or from east to west, whatever the stars are visible or the constellations are visible in the sky, that map is drawn in the sky chart. So basically, you can hold the sky chart and look at that specific direction in the sky. Then you are able to relate, okay, this is what this. Of course, 5 to 10 years back, we were using sky chart. So we used to download the sky chart, take the printout, and then go outside and look at the sky. But nowadays, especially with the advent of smartphones and apps, we can download a sky map. So what you can do is you just hold the phone towards the sky, and in that direction, whatever objects are visible, that those objects will appear in the app. So if I have to call out some of the popular apps, it's like Sky Safari or Nightsky or SKI. So you can basically, these apps are available, I think, in all the operating systems, whether it's iOS, Android, or even Windows. So you can download these apps and observe the sky. Now, this is where it helps you to identify as well as differentiate different types of objects. So using these apps, you will be able to make out, okay, this is a star, this is a planet, this is an open cluster, this is a galaxy, right? And just one more aspect I would like to add here is, say I gave you an example of traveling from one place to another on the road. So if I'm going from Bangalore to Mumbai, I have to pass through Hubli, and then I will get, let's say, Kolhapur, and then Pune. So at least whenever I reach those places, I know that I am going in the right direction. But obviously, it's not the case in the sky. So there is no board over there which says, hey, this is this star or this is this planet, right? So everything looks just dots. So what we do is something called star hopping. Identify a brightest star in the sky, because that is very easy to identify. Once you identify that, you take that as the start location, and then from there, go to the nearest star visible in whichever direction. So like that, you hop from one star to another. Finally, you will reach the particular destination.
So basically this actually works like Google Maps. But the only thing is that the positions, it might change according to places, right? Or is it the same everywhere?
It does change. So for instance, see, if you consider Earth, there is a northern hemisphere, there is a southern hemisphere. There are stars which are predominantly visible in northern hemisphere, and there are stars which are predominantly visible in southern hemisphere. But they are all, I would say, it's like outliers. But majority of the stars are visible in the entire world. I mean, I'm not talking about exceptions like North Pole, South Pole kind of thing. But in general, yes, majority of the stars and constellations and deep sky objects are visible from wherever you are.
Okay. So it doesn't like the stars, I know they'll be moving, I mean changing positions, but it's like light years away. So it appears to be constant. Whereas the planets, the positions of the planets and moons and satellites, they keep on changing, right? And the satellites, they keep moving, each satellite keeps moving in different speeds. How will you track that? How will you know what the position of one satellite which you're looking for?
Right. Um, See, planets, since they all revolve around sun, they appear to move faster compared to the background stars. It doesn't mean that stars are stagnant. They are not moving anywhere, not like that. But they are, as you rightly said, they are at such a uh, very very distant. We basically talk in terms of light years. So on the Earth, we talk in terms of kilometers or miles, but basically in the sky, we talk in terms of light years. So they are at such a larger distance, it appears to be in the same position during the lifetime of humans, I would say. So that's right. Now, when it comes to satellites, for that also we have apps. I I don't remember the app name at this point in time, but basically that app will tell you for your location on that particular day, what are the satellites which will hover over your city and in which direction, whether it is from north to south or northeast to southwest, whatever it is. So it will tell you. It will also, whenever that satellite comes above the horizon, you can it will show you in the kind of map kind of thing. So you can basically come out of your home and look at the sky at that direction, and you will be able to identify those satellites.
Apart from these apps, can we observe these objects from our homes?
Yes, I have to talk about light pollution here. Look, primarily there are few obstructions when it comes to sky observation. One is clouds. We all know, right? If there are clouds, obviously we cannot observe anything. Another obstruction is light pollution. What happens is, let's say I am in Bangalore. So similar to any metro cities, Bangalore also has a huge light pollution. So what happens is when I look at the sky from Bangalore city, I can still see some of the stars, and definitely I can see planets, but I can observe some of the stars which are bright enough to visible in the sky from the city. Now, let's say I move out of Bangalore or any city for that matter. I go to a village which is remote area. I will be able to see a lot more celestial objects in the sky. So if I further go out to the remotest place, uh, I mean, much more objects are visible. So, so how do we identify this? There is something called bottle scale. So this bottle scale is basically on the 1 to 9 scale. This bottle scale talks about the intensity of the light pollution. So in this scale, 1 signifies that the sky is excellent dark, and 9 signifies inner city sky. So Bangalore comes under 8 and 9. So you can make out, to what extent we can observe. Definitely, it's a very, very few stars which are visible in the sky. Let's say I go to a place called Coorg, which comes between bottle 2 and 3. I mean, you don't believe you, uh, it's completely a different picture altogether. Yeah, I mean, one will start wondering, oh, are these stars? I mean, we can see these many stars in the sky, because especially, living in the city, we don't realize that there are so many stars which can be seen with the naked eye, but only when we will appreciate only when we go to a remote place. So similarly, if I go to a bottle 1 scale place like Ladakh, uh, it's an amazing. I mean, there is absolutely no light pollution, so we'll be able to see many, many more. Um, what I would suggest, there is an app called Light Pollution Map. Install this map. This map will basically tell you the bottle scale of your location. I mean, this is available for entire world. So wherever you are, in whichever country, you will be able to identify what is the bottle scale where you are living. You will also be able to identify the nearest bottle 2 or bottle 3 locations to your place. So try to go to minimum bottle 3 location, which is nearest to your place, and observe the sky. You will be able to make it will definitely make a difference, and you have to experience to believe this.
Apart from air pollution and all the other pollution, so there is something called as light pollution, which many aren't aware of. Usually the lights of the street lights or maybe homes and cities, so it obstructs the actual view of the stars, which are actually brighter than all these lights. Your suggestion to observe the stars in different locations was a very good one. And I wasn't aware of the app which you mentioned, but now hearing you talk about all this, like how important for us it is to connect with the nature and go much deep into all these things, is like it's very important for us. Like being in the cities, like with the same routine, we forget how important all these things are. It makes you wonder more. The more you gain knowledge regarding the planets and the stars and whatever it may be, the more questions arise. So the more curious you become. So we have lost that being in cities.
You know, very, very rightly said. Since you brought up this aspect of this subject, I need to share one thing. There is a famous astronomer called Carl Sagan. I will just share his quote. He said, "It has been said that astronomy is a humbling and character building experience. Our posturings, our imagined self importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe are challenged by this point of pale light." He said it right. I mean, there is nothing for me to add on top of that. That's what you also expressed. That's right. The moment we come out of our normal life, which we are leading in city, and go to a remote location, darker location, and just lie on the floor, look at celestial objects, you will get lost in the world of cosmos. And then you start feeling, oh man, I mean, we are so insignificant in this universe.
Exactly. And I'm also astonished hearing that the nocturnal animals, they have been deceived by the amount of lights we have, like the street lights, for example. The animals which are nocturnal, they actually think that's their light and they are actually not active at night. So what we have created is in turn affecting us. So I guess people should keep at least one day or maybe at least certain amount of time in their lives to observe all these kind of objects, so that they will know that they are nothing in front of it. Also, do you have any suggestions for those who are into astronomy or those who want to pursue in this field?
Okay, so as you said, mentioned in the welcome note, I am associated with Bangalore Astronomical Society, or in short called BAS. BAS was started in 2006 by a small group of astronomy enthusiasts. I got associated 3 years back. Now it has grown with many people involved in this. BAS conducts a lot of outreach programs. So outreach programs are where volunteers visit schools and colleges with, and they take their tools like telescopes and binoculars, and whole night we showcase celestial objects to the students and the staff through these tools. We also explain about astronomy. In addition to that, we also arrange star parties. This is specifically for public. How it works is we go to bottle 2 or bottle 3 location, then we invite people. Of course, prior registrations are required because there will be a limited capacity. Then before it gets dark, experts basically explain about astronomy, observation, astrophotography, do's and don'ts, tapes, and how to use telescopes or binocular. So all those things will happen. Once it gets dark, then actual sky navigation starts. So we take the people through the entire night sky. Um, we showcase them all kinds of objects, including galaxies, open clusters, globular clusters, and on the field. It's not like only theory; it's practical on the field workshop kind of thing where people get engaged. They ask a lot of questions, anything about astronomy, and there are experts who are more than happy to answer. The reason I am talking about all this is if someone wants to get into this, do visit the BAS website. We have a Telegram group, register for that. So become part of this Telegram group where you can ask any question about astronomy. So people are there to help you, people are there to guide you, and they also share tips, updates, and all. And we also make announcements when star parties are going to happen. Unfortunately, since the pandemic started, we have not conducted any star parties for the obvious reason. Otherwise, before that, every year we had star parties and people came and enjoyed the being with Cosmos. And I would like to highlight one more thing here. See, visual observation is just one aspect of it. There is also another aspect called astrophotography, where people with the skills of photography as well as astronomy, they take wonderful pictures of deep sky objects like galaxies, nebula. You don't believe the kind of quality output they get out of their work. Sometimes people wonder, are these photos taken from Earth or are they Hubble telescope photos? But I'm not exaggerating. They really take wonderful pictures. So once you join this Telegram group, people share, whoever has taken the photos, they share there, so you can have a look at it. So this is what my suggestion is.
So you can even take your own equipment and then even that is allowed, or how is it?
Oh yes, more than welcome. People can take their own equipments and come to the star parties. Absolutely.
And do they conduct webinars as well?
Yes, we do conduct webinars, and if one cannot join live, uh, all these webinars are published in YouTube channel, BAS YouTube channel. So one can always go to go to that channel. In fact, a lot of topics are already covered in detail, in whether it is about the observation or it is about the photography or it is about choosing a telescope. All those subjects are already covered. So one can go to the channel and have a look at it.
So I'll be linking the YouTube channel link in the description and all the apps, whichever Suresh mentioned in the description. So finally, I have one question. What are your suggestions to young minds? I strongly believe that getting into astronomy, like being curious and sense of wonder, it comes from childhood. So what is your advice to parents or maybe even children or maybe teenagers to get into this field?
See, there are multiple aspects here. One can look at from the career aspects where there are specific courses available, but again, that is after graduation and all. But from the general knowledge perspective or as a hobby, my suggestion is get your child to star parties, because I have personally seen some, some of the parents bringing their children. I am amazed by the kind of questions children ask. They are like as small as 6 years old, 8 years old, but the kind of questions they have, it really amazes. So that curiosity is there in children. Bring your children to the star parties. Also, inspire your children to look at the night sky. Nowadays children are glued to mobiles and TVs. Just take them to the terrace or any open field which is accessible. Show them the night sky. Take the help of apps or charts. And you don't need any specific tools for that matter. You can start with a naked eye observation. With the naked eye itself, you can observe a lot many things. Then slowly you can get a binocular, and definitely, your children will be able to identify finer objects as well. So that's how one can build a hobby.
So, what is the limit of the binocular? Like, you can see the planets, but is that the only limit which you can see? For example, like anybody is able to afford the binoculars. That's why I'm asking this question.
Yeah, that's a great question. See, binocular minimum we suggest is 10 by 50. So this 10 stands for magnification. So it basically magnifies the object 10 times. 50 basically stands for objective lens diameter, that is 50 mm. And this cost around 5,000. Okay. What we can see, remember, it's not only about the magnification of your binocular. As I also mentioned before, light pollution also matters, because personally I have a 10 by 50 binocular. In Bangalore, I was able to observe even Jupiter planets and also some of the open clusters. I was able to observe Andromeda galaxy. But the moment I took my binocular to Coorg, near Bagmandla, which is like bottle 2 or 3, I was able to observe many objects. I couldn't believe myself when I first went there. I mean, so that's how, it struck me how bad Bangalore sky is. So basically, with the binocular, with a 5,000 investment, you will be busy for many years.
I guess instead of investing in toys or any other thing, they could at least invest in this so that the child or even adults, matter of fact, they can just be astonished looking at the sky.
Absolutely. And just, one word here, this 10 by 50, it's a bit heavy, not for the adults, but definitely for the very young children, it looks heavy. What normally you can do is either you can just lie down and hold the binocular so that you will have the support for your elbows, or you can buy a sturdy telescope, and then you can use telescope and binocular to have a wonderful view.
Okay, so thank you so much for giving your time to this podcast and sharing your insights regarding astronomy with us. I know this is a very broad topic and cannot be explained in such a short amount of time. And I guess in the future, we will definitely get more into specific topics in our further episodes. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing your knowledge regarding space objects and naked eye observation and all such things we talked about.
Thank you, Pragati, for this wonderful opportunity. It was very nice talking about this subject. Thank you very much.
All right, listeners, that's the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I'm very grateful that each of you are giving your time to listen to this. There's more coming your way. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and write a review. Your family podcaster, Pragati Achar, signing off.